Welcome to a video series about evaluating programs. If you already missed it, we went through video 1, defining the scope and purpose of evaluations. Go back to our channel and check it out. Now we're on video 2, what questions are best for my survey layout? Stay tuned and you'll see video 3, different evaluation techniques to disperse questions and collect data. Video 4, analyzing and using data for your program's benefit. And lastly, video 5, overcoming the first-time evaluation nerves. Well, let's get started. First, let's go over common types of survey questions. Keep in mind, you can use these individually or in combination with each other. Now, let's go over observational questions. Observational evaluation is completed by any third party or trained staff not directly involved in running the program. They are observing the program from the outside. First, the program facilitators develop a list of actions that align with what the program is trying to measure. So, if the program is measuring toddler affection towards a toy, it would probably have a list of actions that looks like holds the toy, smiles at the toy, hugs the toy, etc. You'll want these actions to be things that are objective towards your measurement, meaning that the action cannot be interpreted in different ways. So, in this instance, the facilitator should avoid measuring actions like makes cooing noise at the toy, because this can be interpreted in several ways by different observers and can be produced in several different ways by different toddlers, and therefore can't be directly associated with affection. After the facilitators have a list of actions, the third-party observer mentioned earlier watches the interaction and checks off to see if and how many times the participant completes them. And depending on these results, the researchers can draw conclusions based off this information. Let's do a full example now from start to finish. A music program wants to measure meaningful interactions between a toddler and an older adult. They chose these list of actions to mean meaningful connection, mutual singing, and engaging with an instrument. For the example, we are doing only 2 actions, but for observational evaluations, you'll likely want somewhere between 5 to 10 actions to measure. Now, let's see how to set up for observational evaluation. Here, you'll see I have a blank template that could be used for one session. On the far left, it's for participant type. This is where I'm going to list toddler and older adult. Then, I'm going to start listing my action items as I go towards the right. This is where I'll be placing mutual singing and engaging with an instrument. Let's go over what it would look like if we did observational evaluation over this program for 3 days. Day 1. Here you'll see I put toddler and older adult in that far left column underneath participant. Then you'll see I put their actions in the following right columns, mutual singing and hold an instrument. And if you go to mutual singing and toddler, you'll see there's 1 tally. That means the toddler attempted to mutually sing with the older adult in this session. Then, if you go to hold an instrument and older adult, you'll see another tally. This means the older adult was observed holding an instrument by the third-party observer during this session. Day 2. You'll see that the actions are starting to pick up. Underneath mutual singing and toddler, you'll see the tally 2. This means that the observer observed this action happening 2 times. While you'll see under older adult and mutual singing, there's only 1. This means the observer only noticed this 1 time. Day 3. The facilitators of the program can see that during this session, there were a lot more action items completed. They could also note that it built to this point over the course of 3 days. If the action items that correlate with the program's intended impact continuously happen at the same rate or increase over time, the facilitators could conclude that the program is having the desired impact. Whereas, if the action items were happening inconsistently or not at all, it would be inconclusive if the program is having its desired impact. And this is how you can use observational evaluation. Now, let's move on to qualitative questions. In qualitative evaluation, the participant completes the evaluation that is given to them by a facilitator or researcher. If you decide to use a qualitative evaluation, you will develop a list of 5 to 10 open-ended questions. Open-ended questions are when participants are allowed to answer in their own words and expression as much or as little as they would like. Then, you can provide these open-ended questions in either a written, digital, or verbal format directly to the participants. Next, facilitators will draw conclusions based off grouping the main themes found in these participant answers. Let's do an example now. An example of using a qualitative question would be if an exercise program wants more detail about program experience. They could ask participants on a blank piece of paper, "What else would you like to share about your experience?" And then let them answer to any extent they would like. Let's say 3 participants answered with these results. Participant 1, "I loved the activities chosen. They were really geared towards my interests. There's not a lot that would get me going to an event that's scheduled at 9 a.m., but these got me there." Participant 2, "This was a bit early for me to be getting up and moving, but I appreciated the space to come together and move around with other individuals." Participant 3, "The facilitators did a wonderful job at choosing a diverse amount of activities. I know a lot of people were a bit slow in the morning, but it was almost like our substitute cup of coffee." Now that I have the answers, the first thing I'm going to look for are common words and sentences. What I can notice are the words surrounding the theme of time. Participant 1 mentioned getting going at 9 a.m. Participant 2 mentioned the phrase "a bit early." And participant 3 said "slow in the morning." So, if I was a facilitator, I would try and make this a measurable category. Once again, you want something that is objective as your measurable category, meaning it cannot be interpreted in another way. Let's say the measurement is when anyone mentions the time as being early, good or bad. I would title this category "Early Time" and put the relevant quotes of the answers, the parts mentioning the effects of the early time, in this category. Then, at the end, if the facilitators notice all participants or a majority of participants mention the program being early, they could draw the conclusion that the program could have started too early for people to exercise. And this is how you can use qualitative data. Lastly is quantitative questions. Once again, in these questions, the participant completes the evaluation that is given to them by the facilitator or researcher. How to evaluate quantitative questions. Quantitative surveys are when the participants have to choose from a predetermined list of answers. This can look like a scale, multiple choice, true or false, etc. Since there are a lot of quantitative questions, there's a lot of ways a person can use them. I'm going to go over the most common example now with scaling questions. These are the questions that ask participants on a scale from blank to blank, "How do you feel about this?" In this example, I asked 5 participants on a scale from 1 to 3 if they liked pudding, 1 being the lowest and 3 being the highest. 2 of the participants answered 2, and 3 of the participants answered 3. Now, we want to average these answers to draw a general conclusion about these specific participants' attitudes around pudding. We first add all of the answers together, which totals 13. Then, take this total of the participants' answers, 13, and divide by the number of participants, 5. The total ends up being 2.6. This is almost the very highest point of our 3-point scale, which means we can probably draw the conclusion that our participants enjoy pudding. And this is how you can use quantitative evaluation. Now that we have the definitions of each option, let's talk about when and why to use them. First is observational evaluation. Observational evaluation is used to collect data in a less obtrusive way. It can also be a clear form of communication for individuals with a more diverse way of communicating. And it allows for whoever is running the program to view participants and their interactions in a more natural environment. Observational evaluation is often used when studying very young children or individuals with diverse cognitive abilities, and can also be used to evaluate animals. Observational evaluation is also used when wanting to measure what happens in natural interactions. Next is qualitative questions. Communities use qualitative questions when they want a deeper reflection of the program or to give individuals the opportunity to provide greater detail about their personal experience. Qualitative data is used when the program has multiple layers that it would like to evaluate. It is also used at the end of surveys for any final thoughts not covered by any other survey questions. And qualitative questions can be used when there is a limited number of participants. This is because qualitative data provides more details within the answers to these questions, and therefore you do not need as many people to receive meaningful feedback. People use quantitative questions to have definitive numbers about change in attitudes, and it can be used for statistical analysis and reporting, and it can also be more time effective. People use it when they want to see a statistical change or wanting to show a definitive effect for grants or annual reports. Now that we know what types of questions there are and how, when, and why to use them, let's talk about how to find these questions and make sure they're valid towards what the program is trying to measure. This part's easy because we've already done it for you. Just sign up for our newsletter and receive access to 16 validated measurement scales that have a variety of qualitative, quantitative, and observational evaluations that are overarching of some of the most common research topics. Now, you don't have to spend time doing the search and validation yourself. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for following along. This video would not be possible without the funding from the NextFifty Initiative and was produced by the University of Denver's Knoebel Institute for Healthy Aging in collaboration with LinkAGES. My name is Hannah Decker, and I'm a graduate student at the University of Denver Graduate School of Social Work, and I hope to see you next time at Video 3, Different Evaluation Techniques to Disperse Questions and Collect Data. And don't forget to subscribe to be alerted for new videos.